west side of Post Cowsey Road. It's going to be parked on the side with the hood up. Male subject standing next to it.
10-4. I'll be en route.
En route at 10:08. Go ahead, 101.
I'll be 1097.
1097, 1009.
Now you're having problems.
I sure am, buddy.
Where you headed?
Man, I'm trying to get to the concert up in Litchfield, but I don't know if this is gonna make it or not.
I'll tell you what, back it up. We can put it in neutral, back it up in the driveway.
All right.
And I'll give you the ride to the concert.
You do that for me?
I'm going to the Elvie Shane concert.
All right,
brother.
buddy, that's where I'm headed.
All
Let's
right,
go.
let's go.
Heck yeah, let's go,
Hop
man.
in.
Do I got to ride in the back?
I'll let you up front.
Okay. That'd be first time for everything.
So you mentioned earlier, have you ever been in the front seat of a police cruiser?
Man, to be honest, I have one time.
Really?
Time, and it was with Speedy. You know Speedy? So I had an old '69 C10 that I bought for $300 or $400. It had a 250 inline 6 3-speed in the floor, and it run out of oil before it run out of gas. So one night I decided to take the interstate home. I'd been hanging out in town. I'd pull over on the interstate because it ran out of oil. Well, Speedy comes and pulls in behind me, who also gave me my very first speeding ticket. I ran him and Kingfish off the road my first day on the way to school.
Lord.
But he pulled over and, yeah, can I help you? I said, yeah, man, I need about 4 quarts of oil to be able to make it the rest of the way home. So he took me to Walmart. We got some oil, took me back about halfway to Caneyville on the interstate. I put some oil in her, she fired right up. But on the way there, he looked and somebody's running about 81 or so. And he showed me how it shows up on there and everything. He says, you want to see somebody's butthole pucker up?
That sounds like him.
He turned on every light and every sound that thing made, and that car slowed down to about 50 miles an hour real quick.
How old were you then?
I was probably 16, 17.
Oh, wow.
But he dodged towards the median. They slowed down, then he just turned everything off and kept on going.
Now, I got an email recently. It has to be a typo. But in the email, it said that you just got back from Iceland?
I did, man. So
Iceland?
Yeah, it's a little crazy. So Mandy and I, it was our 10th anniversary, and we were just gonna go down to Florida somewhere in southern Florida for a week. Well, I was looking at how much it was gonna cost to go down there, and I said, we've got to be able to go somewhere cooler in Florida for as much as this is gonna cost. So I look. Well, to go to Iceland was about half the price of going to Florida.
Well, yeah.
We caught it at the right time, man, and we found out why it was so cheap when we got there. The wind blew 40 to 80 mile an hour every single day. It was there. Rain, sleet, snowed, and hailed. It was we got about 12 hours of good weather, and we crammed a bunch into it. But
Well, when I first got that email, I was like, surely all you gotta do is change one letter and it'll be Ireland. So I knew you went overseas, and I was like, who in the hell goes to Iceland?
Well, they say Iceland's green and Greenland's ice, and Iceland is supposed to be really beautiful, and it was really beautiful, but we only got to see it one day. So, but we crammed 3 days worth of stuff in 12 hours and had a good time. We ended up coming home 2 days early, though.
Oh, I'd say so. Iceland. That's crazy. That is a crazy story, because I've never known anybody that went to Iceland. I bet there weren't many county roads in Iceland.
There's one big road that runs all the way around it, and all the county roads were shut down because there's still a bunch of snow and ice on those roads. But man, it was cool. But we ended up coming home 2 days early and spent a couple days up in New York City. The funny thing is, I'll say Iceland ain't no place for a hillbilly, but I like New York City. It's a cool place.
Yeah, I've been there too. It was pretty cool.
That you grow up, kind of hearing about those people from New York City, and you grow up with this idea that they might be a little rude or crude or whatever, but they're so nice up there, man. For the most part, everybody's pretty nice. I found out the only time you have trouble out of people in New York City is when you get in their way. So what I did is the next day I was there, I started noticing the only time people are rude to me is when I get in their way, because I'm just, tourist trying to figure things out. So I was like, tomorrow when I go walking around, every time I get in somebody's way, I'm going to act like they're in my way and see how it goes. So I'm walking, I get in somebody's way, I'm like, excuse me, buddy. And they're like, oh, sorry, man. I'm like, hey, buddy, are you going to go? Oh, my bad, man. I'm like, hey, this is working.
Yeah, I rode with him by NYPD when I went down there one time, and that was an experience in
I bet, man. I bet.
So, you mind if we listen to some music on the way?
Let's do it, buddy.
All right, here we go.
You got?
You might recognize this song, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I ain't heard this in a little while.
I got a public education, but it didn't come from class. It came from long rides home on the bus in the back, where we learned how to cuss from them high school kids. Throw a punch, take a punch, steal a kiss. Yeah, she had 2 years on me the day I turned 16. I had a Fox body Mustang, she had a body like a dream. We ran on young love, good music, cheap gasoline. Found out you can still go too far even when the tank's on E. Here's to the lessons that don't come cheap, to the long lost lovers in the shotgun seats. Here's to the wild and the restless souls who got their street smarts running down them county roads, county roads, county roads. That reach in my hand sure put a wrench in my plans, but Daddy said good help was hard to find.
Over you sing.
I guess I stood her up one too many Friday nights. She ended up in a truck with a buddy of mine. Hey, here's to the lessons that don't come cheap, to the long lost lovers in the shotgun seats. Here's to the wild and the restless souls who got their street smarts running down them county roads, county roads, county roads. Here's to the hurt from that first hangover, had us all swearing we'd forever stay sober. Here's to the scrapes and the dents and the scars on our boots, our cars, our reckless hearts. Yeah, here's to the lessons that don't come cheap, to the long lost lovers in the shotgun seats. Here's to the wild and the restless souls who got their street smarts running down them county roads, county roads, county roads, county roads, county roads.
Man, that was awesome.
Thank you, buddy.
Woo!
I appreciate you.
Man, if they don't pump you up on a Saturday, I don't know what will, dude. That is awesome.
I love that they gave that song so much love on the radio over here at home, too.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Now we talk about county roads, we talk about My Boy. You've got a couple of other songs, Forgotten Man and Baptized.
Yeah, just put them out recently.
Man, the Baptized song, both of them, just awesome. And I can't help but thinking that the songs that you have out now scream Caneyville and Grayson County.
They still do, yes, sir.
I mean, man, that the worst of those songs, every time it brings back a lot of memories for me, and I know for everybody in this county as well.
Well, Forgotten Man, that song is really taking a look at people that I grew up around, people like Glenn Templeman, Tinker, and Harold Higgs, and my dad, and Barry Joe Cannon, and all those guys that the hard-working blue-collar people that I grew up around, that I feel like are a little bit of a dying breed, and And you know, the ones that still are around these days, you know, we've lost a couple of those guys, but the ones that still are around, I don't feel like they're represented the way they should be anymore. You know?
I'm with you. And was there a moment like when you were a kid? I guess how old were you when you started doing music?
Well, Mama said I was born on Sunday, and the following Sunday she had me held tightly beside a hymnal at Walnut Grove Missionary Baptist Church. You know, so music was always kind of ingrained in my DNA. My daddy could sing, my mama could sing, but I guess my brother and sister, you know, were in a bad wreck when I was a kid, and my brother used to sing this song called "Victory is Sweet" at church. And when he got back from the hospital, he couldn't really sing anymore for a while, so I took over that song. And it was then that I realized, like, you could sing a song that would move you, but you could move other people by singing it and just pouring your heart into it.
Absolutely.
You know. And so it was church that first made me fall in love with singing and music. But also, you know, Daddy, I'd come home after church, and you know, there would be beer cans laying around, and he'd be working on some old semi truck or something. So I'd be out wrenching with him from a young age, and listening to Leonard Skinner, Otis Redding, The Temptations, Steve Earle, Dwight Yoakam. You know, he listened to so much diverse music, and just really taught me to love lyrics. So that's kind of gave me my love for writing and lyrics there. So
when did you decide that you wanted to pursue music as a career?
Well, I always kind of dabbled in singing and playing music. I joined a band in high school, and then I played in college with a couple friends in a group called 88. We were all born in 88 and rehearsed on Highway 88 here in Grayson County. But it wasn't until, man, I just worked so many different jobs. I couldn't hold a job down more than 6 months. And
been there, done that.
Yeah, man, I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. I was working construction. There was a guy named Steve Rich who took me out of a crappy situation with a different foreman, and he liked me and brought me over to his crew, and he always told me I needed to do something with it. Well, one day it was hot, and he had me shoveling gravel. He loved me, but he still made me do just the grunt work, you know. I'm shoveling gravel in a pipeline ditch, and I threw my shovel and said, "I'm out of here." He said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm gonna go do music or something." He said, "I've been waiting for you to say that."
That's awesome.
So I was about 27 years old when I started going to Nashville. You know, money was always the thing that held me back the most, and I started just doing what I could, going and playing shows, and I ran into this amazing couple from Ohio that believed in me, and they helped me out for a little while to where I could go to Nashville and focus. They helped me for about a year and a half to where I could pay my bills and still go to Nashville and focus on writing. And I was
awesome.
Blessed with a publishing deal and able to, you know, write music for a living after about a year and a half. And they've remained very close friends and still, you know, would help me with anything. But they really helped me get on my way. So thank you, Becca Myers. I love y'all.
There's a lot of young people in Grayson County
Yeah.
that come from similar backgrounds that you come from. And I have a lot of young people that come to me and they say, "Man, there's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do." I have what I call the 95-5 rule. 5% of kids are going to do wrong no matter what.
Yeah.
5% are going to do right no matter what.
Yeah.
90% of kids are straddling that line. And I was one of those kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Growing up. And would you say, would that be a fair assessment that maybe you were one of those 90% as
Yeah,
well?
definitely, man. I wasn't in the most trouble out of my peers, but I definitely, you know, felt like when I was younger, I felt like I had a hard road to tow, you know, and so I was in and out of a little bit of just dumb trouble. And I think it all comes from, you know, there ain't a whole lot to do here, man. And to do
true.
things. Did you grow up here in Grayson County
Yes,
too, Mr.
born and
Chaffins?
raised.
So there's not a whole lot.
Don't call me Mr. Chaffins, please.
Okay, Norman, sorry. So there isn't a whole lot to do, but I'd go out and ride around Barton Ferry Road, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'd try to just hide out on the back roads of the back roads, you know, and
Absolutely.
and have a little fun out there, and just try to stay as far away from you guys as I could so I didn't get caught and get in trouble. But man, I feel like you grow up in a place like this thinking that there's no opportunities, you know, and you think you want to get out want to get out, and I wanted to get out so bad. I left the day after I graduated high school. But you get out there for a little while, and you'll always feel the pull back. Yeah. And I just want, I got off into drugs and everything else, and got in trouble with that. I was talking to you about that earlier. Yeah. I just wish that these kids could really see that you can come from a little bit of nothing, and you can really have an amazing life,
And I think you'll agree with this too. It's all about, obviously the choices that you make, but it's also the choices of who you hang out with as well.
Absolutely. And I hate to see, a lot of these people, like you're talking about, that 5% that's going to be in trouble regardless, they're good-hearted people. Yep. They're victims of their circumstances and their situation,
But I've seen a lot of people come out of that too. I mean,
I've got good friends, man, that have way worse off life than I did as a kid, and they're doing good things with their life, man. I hate to see those people villainized. I wish there was more programs available before they get in trouble, or maybe the first couple times that they get in some kind of serious trouble, that there's a way to lead them in a better direction. I feel like people just get villainized so quickly.
Yeah, I agree. And then they get labeled.
Labeled.
That's the problem. So I agree with that.
I was close to it myself, and I told you about Rick calling me and giving me a warning call when he was sheriff one time with some dumb stuff I was doing. But I'm kind of on a little bit of a mission these days to be a voice for those people, because I know so many of them. Still, I've got a cousin up in Louisville right now, man. He's a brilliant kid, good-hearted, but he's struggling. He struggles with his addiction and stuff, and he wants to be better, And
well, you doing things like that honestly helps me, and it makes my job easier, because when young people see people like you going away, doing what you've done, the success that you've had with your music, and then coming back and giving back to the community. I mean, the song that we just sang, well, I mostly lip sync, to be honest with you.
Oh, you sounded good. I heard you.
You had the Grayson County. I think it was the choir that sang back up on that.
The high school chorus that sang backgrounds on that, and I just wanted to give back, man. And that was part of like letting these kids be involved in something that was. I don't know what the right word is, but bigger than just being
Absolutely.
Here. You know what I'm saying? There's something outside of being here. Let them realize that you can be part of more. And also, man, you don't have to leave here.
Yeah.
Especially, I think young people right now have the biggest opportunity in small communities that there's been in 40 years with trade work. That's another mission I'm on right now with all these working class songs that I'm putting out. I want young people to know that the college thing isn't for everyone.
Exactly.
And I knew it wasn't for me, but I tried it anyway. Yeah. And now I'm $40,000 in debt for student loans, But there's trade work, there's apprenticeship programs that you can get in, and you can make a real good living in Caneyville, Kentucky, Litchfield, Clarkson, small rural communities. You can make a great living doing trade work, electrician, plumbing, carpenter, mechanic. There's so much stuff that you can do to make money. You don't have to feel like anymore that you're worthless if you don't go to college and get a 4-year
That's
degree.
one regret I had when I was in school, is I didn't learn a trade. I wish I had it now, because I'm pretty much stuck doing police work. That's mine.
Well, man, I'm a jack of all trades master, and I'm still a jack of all trades is better than a master of one, right?
That's exactly right. And I'm going back to the question I was going to ask you earlier, and one of the final questions I was going to ask you at the end was, if people wanted to know about Elvie Shane and know what you were all about, what would they need to do? But then I got to listening to a lot of the other songs on your Backslider album, and all they need to do is listen to your music, and that tells you all you need to know about Elvie Shane. That's
Backslider
crazy.
was very autobiographical for me. I wanted to tell my story I came to the conclusion that none of us are very special, and a lot of times artists are put on a pedestal, or singers or whatever are put on this pedestal, and they're made to seem like there's something bigger than normal, And what I realized is ain't none of us really all that special. So if you just tell your story, you're bound to relate with a multitude of people, because as bad as you think you've had it, or as good as you think you've had it, whatever, somebody else in the world has been there, it's some degree. Yeah. So, I tell artists all the time, you know, I'll be playing guitar rounds with other artists, and I'll say that, you know, just none of us are up here that special.
Yeah.
Just tell our stories and you'll relate to people. And you know, my truth kind of goes against the grain these days a little bit of what is most accepted in a commercial space, but my mission is to go out. And I heard Chris Stapleton say this one time in an interview. This guy came up to him after a show, and he's like, "Man, Chris, how do you just do that? How do you do what you do?" And Chris looked at him and said, "Well, I'm just trying to tell the truth as loud as I can, you know." So I kind of live by that with my music, and just hope that it touches some people. I've got a song coming out this year that's called Pill, and I've posted it a couple times on socials, but that song is about, you know, when I was running around and really deep off in it. You know, if my little brother would have wrote me a letter, what would it say? You know, and the first verse says, "Boy, you got just enough money for a little white Bic and a pack of Dirty Bird lights. The rest of what Mama spent you went to the 45-minute high."
Wow.
Always running around up and down town, but you never stopped by the house, rolling up dollars, living on dimes and bouncing from couch to couch. You know, and there's I know I lived that life for a while, and I know there are so many other people from here, from Bowling Green, where I was living when I was living like that. There's so many other people that are living that life, and sometimes I know through the history of listening to music that sometimes all you got to do is hear that somebody is where you're at to make you want to change, or somebody has been where you are.
Well, I got to say, when you just said that, it gave me cold chills, because it brought, of course, you know, there's a lot of addiction in Grayson County. Yeah. There's a lot of addiction, and I tell people all the time, when I was a trooper, I remember maybe 2 or 3 overdoses of heroin in our opioids when I was a young trooper. Now as sheriff, we're seeing 2 or 3 every month. Yeah. And you know, when somebody hears that story and you're listening to music, sometimes that's a gateway to getting help. And that, you know, I can't tell you how much you know, that means to me. Like I said, that goes along with what I just told you about you doing what you're doing. It makes my job easier in some respects. As you can see, this sign we're getting ready to pass, it says "Home of our boy Elvie Shane," and that's pretty much, from what I've seen, that's pretty much what started it all, was that song. And I know you were in it, you know, before that, but man, I got to tell you something. I was teaching a class in Caneyville Elementary a few weeks ago, and I was right in the middle of talking about the harmful effects. I don't know exactly what drug we were talking about, but I went in there once a week for about 13 or 14 weeks with the kids, 5th graders. And in the middle of my class, over the intercom in the cafeteria, my boy starts playing over the intercom. And I'm like, who's playing that? Well, come to find out, it was a teacher was on her computer, and evidently she was playing it on her computer, but it was coming through the speakers in just the room that I was teaching in. Well, all the kids started singing the song. That's in the 5th grade, started singing the song "My Boy," and I just let it go, man. I just let them sing the song, and finally, I guess the teacher realized it was coming through the speakers, man. And give me a little background on that song, on "My Boy," how that. I know you had other people that were help writing it and things like that, but how does that hit home with you?
So it's cool that the other people is another cool factor to me, because it proved in the writing process that it was just relatable. There was 4 of us, me, my friend Russell Sutton, Lee Starr, and Nick Columbia, and I had met. So when I was living, you know, pretty rough life in Bowling Green, I was kind of at my wit's end, man. I'd been to jail. I almost died. I was just having a rough time, and I met this girl, Mandy Perkins, that worked at the Overtime Sports Bar and Grill, and I would go in there and just play pool, and she would always, you know, bring our drinks and stuff. And I started, I don't know, my roommate liked her first, you know, but I started just really digging her, and she showed up one day at the pool table, and the way she posted up and talked to me, I was like, oh man, I think she might like old Elvie Shane, but you know, so I talked to her, and she told me she had a 5-year-old little boy. And man, I went home, I cut my long hair off, I went back and put in an application at that place, and got
at Overtime.
Yeah, at Overtime.
That's fine.
Started working there. She was dating the kitchen manager. I didn't know that, and about 4 months later, I was a kitchen manager for 2 days, and she was my girlfriend. So, but we got married.
Yes.
And, you know, I became a dad, and or stepdad, and I don't have a problem with the phrase stepdad. Some people don't like it, but it's like I stepped up, so I'll take stepdad. That's fine. But I just wanted to, it was still rocky, man. You come into a kid's life that's his grandparents, my wife's parents had been such huge parental figures to this kid, and I would never want to take that away. But I wanted him to have something to go back when he was old enough to understand my intentions coming into his life. But we didn't start to try to write a song about that. We were just talking about that situation. It turns out 3 of us were either a step kid, a step parent, or had been in a relationship with a girl that had a kid. And the other dude's just really smart. So we just started talking about it. Somebody said he ain't got my smile. That don't bother me a bit. Somebody said he's got somebody else's eyes I'm seeing myself in. We really felt like we were on something, so we wrote that night, and then the next morning Russell Sutton came out to me in his flame flannel pajamas and playing his guitar with a cigarette hanging out of his lip. You'd have to know Russell, man. He's a trip. And he said, "Elvie, I don't think we know what we did last night." And boy, was he right. Completely changed mine and my family's life, and I've seen it change so many other people's lives over the internet. It's awesome.
Yeah, I came in. Of course, I had 3 kids with my wife. Now we had 3 kids. I had 3 kids, and she came in as a stepmom, and single, 10 years younger than me, and I had 3 kids and divorced. So I hit the jackpot too, brother. I'm telling you, it's tough. When you first come in, especially when you have stepkids, it is tough. And so
you think you're gonna ride in on your white horse and just save the day with everything that you see wrong with the program, but you learn that your job is to try to find where to fit in that program and try to be as good of an example as you possibly can. And I fall short of that every single day.
Absolutely.
But I do think that I've at least shown my boy that if you really work hard at something, that you can reap the benefits of it.
Yeah. Let's talk just a minute about why I asked you to be here. We've got a 12-year-old little girl named Alexis, and she's been battling leukemia for several months. And they've had some different things for her, and I just wanted to do something different, something special, something to get everybody involved and interested. And because I know she's had some transplants, she's had blood work, she's been poked and prodded, had different procedures, and needles stuck in her, and every time I look at her on social media with her mom, she's got a smile on her face.
Yeah.
And man, we think we go through some stuff, man, and for someone like that to come out basically just hell, and then still have a smile on her face, man, it lifts me up. And that's something, and I want to do something special for her, and we want her to use whatever money we raise from this. It's going to go directly to her, and she can use it for whatever she wants to use it for. And I want to, before we get done, I want to personally thank you for doing this, and hopefully we can raise some money for Alexis.
Yeah, hopefully so. We hopefully people want to see me. We ought to arrest me or something and post a picture as the thumbnails. And local country artists has run in with hometown police or something. But sometimes people always want to see the bad, right?
They'll take the ball and run with that, though. You won't convince people it didn't happen.
Yeah, but I'll be getting phone calls. But no, man, it is pretty amazing to think that. Man, I've seen so many kids throughout this, this career, and you kind of get involved in those things, and there's so many just kids that are tough as nails, man, and that are going through that. And I've worked with, there's a program called Sarah Cares. A friend of mine wrote that song, Sarah Beth, that Rascal Flatts sang back in the day. And there was a little girl from Korea named Sarah Beth that was battling leukemia. And so they started a program to raise money for families that are traveling back and forth to the hospitals to help with travel expenses and hotels and stuff. But so that's a good program. I just want to give them a plug there. But
absolutely. But
yeah, man, there's Alexis and so many other kids that we can learn so much from. About I've been down on myself lately about some things that have to do with my career, and this morning, even I was having a rough morning because stuff happened, but I was still sitting there thinking about, man, I'm about to go and play this show for my hometown. We're doing this for a good purpose, and if I hadn't have if I hadn't been blessed with what I've been blessed with, then what good would it do for me to be in here doing this interview
Right.
with you, you know, and hopefully, you know, through God's blessings that He's given me and everything, I'll be able to go play show for a lot of people in my hometown today and help somebody out that's going through a real hard time with a smile on their face, you know.
So Alexis, if you're watching this, and I'm sure you will be, we want you to know that, want you to keep fighting, keep your head up, and you got a lot of people pulling for you. You got a lot of people that are praying for you and want you to get better, and hopefully in the end, and I believe, I'm praying that it does, and I'm praying that it will, and we know that you're going to get better, and whatever we can do, I know Elvie will be more than happy to try to help out any way we can, and hopefully by doing this, He already has. So,
well, Jesus said, with the faith of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain.
Absolutely.
So I got faith in you too, baby. We love you.
Yes. You may not know this, but I know you had. It was one of the posts. I think you had it on your page on Facebook or some other social media outlet. But I made a comment on there that, you know, how proud I was, and one of the things that I've always been told and is the phrase, never forget who you are and where you came from. And I will say that Elvie Shane is the epitome of that phrase, because like I said, Forgotten Man and Baptized, County Roads, and the new song Pill coming out. Hopefully we'll get that. When can we expect that?
Probably later on this year, maybe early next year, man. So what we're doing is just putting a song out every 8 to 10 weeks this year, and then we'll be dropping an album at the end of the year or beginning of next year.
So if
Hey, what you going around?
so if someone wanted to listen to your music, how would they go about doing that?
Anywhere you stream music, you know, YouTube music. YouTube, we got a bunch of videos out there too. Spotify, Amazon, Pandora, iTunes. Anywhere you listen to music, you can go listen to any of my records or songs that I have out. We've put about 4 songs out this year. One was Sympathy for the Devil, was on a Rolling Stones project that I don't know how in the world I got to be part of it, but it was cool. I put out a song with a band called Cadillac 3 called Hillbilly.
Yes.
It's about you know, the struggles with addiction in rural areas. Forgotten Man, and then Baptized, my latest song. That's that I got to debut my beautiful wife in the video. So you guys go check that video out. I'm very proud of it, and it's very classy. Love scene, so don't be worried. It's all good. But you know, sometimes in these small areas, you got to find a little place to get a little kissing and smoozing on, and it might end up being where you got baptized.
Yeah,
so that's where it's.
There might be an overtime, maybe. I don't know. Last thing, you got a show tonight.
Yes, sir.
And this is county where you were born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to you? You probably already talked about it a little bit, but what does it mean to you to come back where you have so many memories as a kid, and some of them good, some of them not so good, and, you know, being in the, you know, back seat, well, it wasn't so bad with Speedy in the front seat, but what does it mean to you to come back and perform basically in people that you know that love and care about you?
Man, it's cool. You know, I was definitely not the most popular kid in school around here, and but I think anybody that grew up with me could say I might have been annoying as hell, but I always try to be nice to everybody, and people have been super supportive of me. People who, you know, I never thought I would ever be friends with or be able to be friends with, have turned out to be some of my biggest supporters. So it's cool to come back and play. And, you know, I just came to the middle school a few weeks back and talked to the middle school students. It was so funny. I was walking through the hallway and I would hear them, you know, when they went by, Elvie Shane. I was like, I told the principal, I said, well, the response to me walking down the hallways these days is a lot different than it was when I was a kid.
That's right. That's right.
No, man, I'm just, I love my hometown. I'm glad to give back, and you know, I love this state. I love this county. I love the county I'm in now. Everybody has been so supportive of me here, so I'm gonna go up there and just tell the truth as loud as I can.
Absolutely, love it. And I know I was going to tell you too. You know, I do a lot of public speaking, so you know, unfortunately, doing public speaking in a town where you were born and raised, I can't get up there and tell them, hey guys, I was a 4.0 student, I was great, never got in any trouble. And because when I do that, I tried to do that once, and the teachers looked, is this the same guy that was that put a pile of fake dog poop in my office? And so yeah, I know where you're coming from on that. I wasn't the best kid either.
Well,
so
man,
it's
you
all
know, I always enjoyed listening to a preacher that maybe had a tattoo hidden under his sleeve or something. You know, so it's always I think when somebody's been there or done that, been a little more rough around the edges, if they're talking to me, I'm a lot more apt to listen. You know, so it's good to know that people have actually lived a little bit of real life if they're trying to convince you to live a better
Yes, sir.
one. So
yes, and so guys, go download every song, go to every streaming website you can, and get all the Elvie Shane music you can handle, because it's going to be worth it. And don't just stream it, turn it up.
Turn it up, baby.
Turn it up.
Put it on repeat. Put it on repeat, turn it down when you go to bed at night so I get more streams.
Absolutely. So.
Well, sounds like NASCAR on WBKR on some old busted car radio. Like them U bottles clanging in the floorboards every time we hit the same pothole. Like that train whistle wailing in, creeping up on 5:10, church bell ringing, means we're gonna be late again. Ear to the door, make sure they ain't praying. Head up to the front, back pews